So I'm doing the video because I just moved from Alaska to San Diego, and I had an appointment at 5, and I was afraid with this lovely San Diego traffic that I wasn't going to make it back in time for class. So if you're listening to this recording, that means I didn't make it back, and I'm happily sitting in California traffic. Anyway, my project or presentation is on emotional and behavioral disorders with a focus on depression. Um, IDEA uses the term emotional disturbances to describe those who suffer with emotional or behavioral disorders. And of course, in the classroom, there's no two students alike who suffer from emotional disturbances. While some students may display aggressive behaviors that force them to act out in the classroom, others represent a wide range of behaviors caused by many different debilitating disorders, such as anxiety, schizophrenia, ADHD, and of course, chronic depression, which we're going to talk about today. So moving on to slide 2. First, start off and just recap emotional and behavior disorders. Although emotional and behavioral disorders are extremely varied, there are at least 3 experiences that I read about that are in common, and it's that these students, first, the behaviors they display can be very upsetting to those in their circles. Second, people often put blame on the student as if they can control their behavior. They do not recognize it as a disease. We need to know that. Last, students with these behavioral problems are often isolated, causing more damage than the disability itself. So it's important for us to remember that. Slide 3. The topic discussed, of course, in the presentation is depression. Depression is identified as an internalized disorder which is difficult to diagnose because those with depression do not create the chaos often associated with those who fall under those identified with externalized disorders. This is serious because if a teacher fails to identify a student with depression, the disorder can lead to outcomes as severe as suicide. The CDC estimates about 1.3 million children each year suffer from depression. This number exemplifies the importance that teachers must become educated on the characteristics associated with students who suffer from depression, and we'll talk about that. Next, in slide 4, students diagnosed with learning disabilities are susceptible to chronic depression. So they may not just have depression, it could come from those who have other disabilities and disorders, and they're frustrated from it, and they become tired of it, and they become depressed from it. It could lead into chronic depression. There are many different signs and symptoms apparent in those suffering from depression. However, at least 5 of the symptoms must be apparent over a period of time before an official diagnosis can be determined. Some common signs to look out for in students in the classroom are persistent sad or irritable moods, that's obvious to all of us, loss of interest in activities once enjoyed, significant change in appetite or body weight, loss of energy, difficulty concentrating, frequent absences from school, difficulty with relationships, and self-mutilation. That actually seems like it's out there, but it's quite common. When you hear them talking about running away from home or outbursts of crying, shouting, and complaining, when there's at least 5 of these signs or symptoms, you know there's a problem. Some other important signs and symptoms: consistent truancy, responding with "I don't care" when a question's asked, red eyes, complaints of stomach and backaches. These symptoms can affect the child's ability to learn because they often don't want to go to school. And when they don't want to go to school, and they do get these ailments, they underperform, of course. So it kind of puts fuel to the fire. The most important warning signs to look out for in children are those that display suicidal behaviors. Although suicidal warning signs can be the same of those of depression, other important factors need to be taken into consideration. For example, students who experience recent family changes like divorce or death, look out for changes in those students. Students that you've heard about maybe engaging in drinking or drug abuse, or if they start to verbally communicate expressions of despair by using statements like "life is not worth living" or "I wish I were dead." These are all at high risk statements, and these are at high risk students, and they should be evaluated. You need to let somebody know about this. Slide 5. Teachers who encounter students that are frequently sad can practice some interventions immediately. First, they should get to the school counselor, like I said, or administrators involved immediately. Provide a safe zone for these students right away. Create opportunities for positive interactions and be supportive, to name a few. Um, if a student shows signs of sudden changes in behavior, the teacher should report severe changes immediately. Monitor their attendance. Hold a parent conference to discuss medical concerns and listen to the student. When you're talking to them and you're trying to understand them and you're asking questions, show genuine interest in them and show respect for them. The way that you can do this is by smiling, making eye contact, showing that you're observant, that you really want to know what's going on, and of course, like I said, show respect. Those are interventions, some strategies that you can use in the classroom once the students are confirmed with depression in the classroom, are create a calming and positive classroom ambiance. Classrooms that are pleasant and orderly influence students' behaviors in positive ways, and that's for any student. Try to keep your classroom as less chaotic as possible and neat and clean, and not having it too noisy. I know that we've heard that term before. Students like to come in a nice, clean classroom. It just makes them feel better. Classroom management is important. A teacher should pay attention to student seating and group arrangements, as well as remove any tempting or dangerous items. Practice good time management skills and make sure there are the least disruptions as possible and keep the students on task. This way you're preventing any disruptive behavior that might occur. Time management and organization skills should also be taught to the student directly. This helps student maintain goals and complete assignments, which helps obviously keep a positive environment for them. The more that they're doing right, the more that's organized, the better they're going to feel, the more positive it is all the way around. The Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development suggests that teachers should promote positive social interactions with students who often find it difficult to maintain friendships because of mood fluctuations. Other students are not really going to care what's going on with this student. They don't understand that it's a disorder. They don't understand what's going on, and they're not going to want to be around them. So some of the ways that you can kind of create this positive friendship, I guess, situation is by including a cooperative group activities, pair specific students together that you may think will work well together. That's a good strategy. Further, it's important for teachers to keep open lines of communication with the student's family. Always, we know this. Communication is key. Positive reinforcement from all aspects of the student's life may increase depressed students' participation in class. So if you're keeping the parents in the loop regarding classroom events and deadlines, you're not only relieving some of the students' responsibilities and lessening their stress levels, you're keeping the parents kind of up to speed on what's going on and keeping them in a positive mood so they're positive towards the student's education and what's going on in the classroom, making the student kind of want to do better, motivating them a little bit. Anything that you can do to keep the mood up is essential for the student's success in the classroom. I know I'm keeping this short and sweet, but I wanted to keep it at least under 10 minutes. Of course, the books were great resources. I found a lot of things out of the books for the class. Some websites right there, you can read them. The ASCD, which I just already talked about. I really liked the Council for Exceptional Children. Please go through that. See what you can find. National Alliance for Mental Health. They had a unsurmountable amount of websites that you can go to. It was amazing. So get out there, get informed, get educated. It's very important, especially in the special education classroom, because a lot of these children are diagnosed with depression after they're diagnosed with some other disorder. So keep this in mind, and good luck to everybody, because I know that this is our last class tonight. I wish you all luck and have a great summer if you get to enjoy it.